You're welcome to another video of CLI-based network automation using Python Nornir based on Cisco devices. In this section, we are going to talk about Nornir Napalm Validate to check configuration compliance. By checking configuration compliance, it means to verify network devices have compatible configurations, for example, DNS or NTP configuration. And Nornir Napalm Validate is used to automate configuration compliance check of network devices. Compliance checking is another important network automation application that allows you to quickly verify which network devices have an incompatible configuration. For example, when you want to ensure that all devices on the network are pointing to the correct NTP and DNS servers, Nornir Napalm Validate task is exactly used to automate compliance checking of the configuration. If we review the details of the Nornir Napalm Validate task in the GitHub source, Nornir Napalm plugin task, Napalm Validate. Here we use a parameter src or source as a source file or validation source file to check the compliance of the configuration, and the name of the task, as you can see, is Napalm_validate. To perform the compliance check, we first need to prepare a YAML file as a validation source file. To prepare a YAML validation source file, we retrieve the part of the configuration that we will check for compliance in network devices through Napalm getter or CLI commands. As we have already seen, the output is in the format of JSON. The source validation file must be in the format of YAML, so we need to convert the JSON format to the YAML format. It is done usually through Python YAML library or online tools. Finally, we use Napalm Validate task with prepared validation source file to check the compliance of configuration in network devices. As an example, now we will perform an NTP configuration compliance check. In the first step, we get NTP part of the configuration using Napalm get and get NTP servers getter. This is the script that we have prepared in the first lesson of Nornir Napalm module, and there is no need to explain more about it. Now we can run the script to get NTP part of the configuration, but in the format of JSON. Python 351. This is the output in the format of JSON. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8 are two of NTP servers. The output of NTP configuration in the format of JSON must be converted into the YAML format. We use online website JSON to YAML.com to convert the configuration to YAML format. When I wanted to convert JSON to the YAML, I noticed that we need to use double quote instead of single quote, which was in the output of single quote, which was the output of the script. Therefore, I've changed all single quotes to the double quote to convert JSON to the YAML without receiving any error. Otherwise, you will receive error. And now it is ready to convert the JSON format to the YAML format, as you can see in the right section of the website. Probably we want to check the compliance of many parts of the configuration. For example, not only NTP, but also DNS server. Then we have a list of configuration that must be checked in the compliancy. In other words, the configuration must be in the format of a list of configurations. Therefore, we change the key value get NTP server, get a DNS server, and any other key value to the format of a list with inserting hyphen in front of each part of the configuration. And exactly I've done inside the file NTP YAML, ntp.yaml, as you can see, get NTP server, and then you are allowed to check the compliancy of many other parts of the configuration. It must be in the format of list. Now we can do compliance checking or validate the configuration using prepared YAML validation source file or ntp.yaml. And this is the script that I have prepared to validate NTP configuration. It uses Napalm validate task and ntp.yaml as a validation source file that we have already prepared. If we run the script, it is expected that the configuration is compliant since the source file is generated from device running configuration. Let's run Python 358. See, the compliance is true, and we have two server 1 2 3 4. This is compliant, true, and 5 6 7 8. It is also compliant. See, the result shows that the configuration of devices complies with the source YAML file. For each server also shows that the compliance check is true. To also see when the configuration does not comply, let's change one of the NTP servers in device configuration and run the script again. For example, no NTP server 1 2 3 4, and we use instead NTP server 1 2 3, for example 14, and we run a script again. It does not match this time, and the compliance is false because one of the NTP servers 5 6 7 8 complies, but the other one 1 2 3 4 does not comply and does not exist.